Thanks to everyone for joining us today. My name is Nichelle Harris. I am the director of the Ohio Afterschool Network, and I have been here for about 2 years. I actually took on some of this ESSA work as part of my White-Riley-Peterson Policy Fellowship project. So I was excited to be able to just sort of share out with everyone at the Mott Network and also through my fellowship about the work we've been doing here in Ohio. So here's a slide that talks about sort of what's been going on here in my state as far as our work with ESSA goes. We have been working here behind the scenes since we just, since ESSA really began, working with about 30 individuals who are stakeholders from, around the whole state of Ohio. When we first decided that we were going to just try to figure out, what would be best practice for us here in Ohio, we convened a work group to sort through the Ohio's draft plan for ESSA and pick out opportunities for us to engage in conversations with school district leadership about, really how we could impact the ESSA plan for our state. We went so far as to come up with some notes that we submitted to our stakeholders to offer them for language to sort of weigh in on our ESSA plan for the state. So, and we felt like we had a strong group of support. So that's sort of where we all, at that point I was sort of gathering the community to sort of start to do some work on this. Interestingly, around January 15th, I think it was, the Ohio Department of Education called a committee of practitioners meeting to sort of talk about ESSA and how it would be implemented in the state. Full disclosure, I'm not on that committee, but I went to the meeting anyway because that's the kind of person that I am. So I sat in the audience and listened to a variety of people from the Department of Ed and also stakeholders from around the state talk about our ESSA plan. It had actually been approved the day before, so there was lots of excitement around it and lots of conversation. In particular, I was very excited to hear Chris Wooler from the Office of Innovation and Improvement talk about after school and its impact and its opportunity really with school districts. What he said was that, there's been sort of a shift from the whole compliance mentality to giving decision-making back to schools, and that in this there was a large opportunity for after-school programs for school districts to engage after-school programs as a strategy, a resource that hasn't yet been tapped into. So I was excited to hear that comment come out of the Committee of Practitioners meeting. We called a small ESSA meeting after that from our state, and here I have it called Getting the Band Back Together. We sort of reconvened the ESSA committee to talk about, okay, really what are our opportunities now that we know what the state's ESSA plan is. So we took some time to read through the plan and to start to develop some talking points and a resource for members of our network. We, and I'm going to skip ahead here just to kind of show it, we developed this sort of an ESSA one-pager for members to use. We used the front page of it to sort of outline sort of language that people could use if they were preparing their own materials or if they were trying to have conversations with people. And then the second page here talks more about like actionable steps that people can take to engage their school districts or decision makers in their local community in conversations about how after-school programs can help with school district initiatives and priorities. We also did some updates on our website, and I think I may have that here too. Let me skip ahead 2 pages. There we go. That's a screenshot of the Ohio Afterschool Network website, and because I couldn't take a snip that was big enough, up in the right-hand corner you'll see the address for the website, or you can just log in and kind of scroll around through there. But just trying to have a resource available to anyone in Ohio who wanted to know more about the connection between ESSA and after school. So while this is just a snip of the page, if you were to log onto the website, you could scroll down, down, down and see it's sort of like a repository of resources that I've collected over the last couple years about ESSA, wide and far-reaching. It's from newspaper articles to things that the Alliance has done to things that, you know, the network has done. So that's sort of what I'm trying to do as far as gathering resources go. So the next steps for OAN include having broader conversations about this one-pager, and also we're going to frame our next quarterly meeting in May around trying to get better connected, having a better relationship with your school district. ESSA is going to be an incredibly important talking point at this meeting as we talk about, you know, what school districts are interested in, but then also sort of giving after-school providers tools that they need to open conversations, and also just to understand what opportunities are out there in their school district. You know, some after-school programs weren't even sure what, you know, what a building leadership team was, or really what an improvement plan is. So kind of, you know, translating some of those talking points to people who might not be familiar with them, and giving them the skills and vocabulary and tools they need to have conversations with people to sort of offer after school as a strategy for, you know, improving education and student outcomes in our state.